Hello, everybody, and welcome into Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. So excited to be here today, guys. We are just 2 days away from Sunday, and we got a lot of decisions we have to make as far as who we need to plug into our lineups and who we need to have on our bench. Today, I'm going to be giving you my injury report because there are a ton of injured running backs going into week 3 of the fantasy season. So I'm primarily going to be focused on running backs and how to approach these backfields, who to have on your bench, and who you need to be plugging into your starting lineup. Guys, I'm going to get right into it, but if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below and give me a thumbs up if you do like the content today. I appreciate it very much, guys. All right, so I'm going to start with what is by far the most confusing backfield in all of fantasy football, and that's the 49ers backfield. Okay, so obviously, Mostert got hurt on in the first quarter of the first game, like he does every single season. He's out for the year. Okay, so no Mostert. So Trey Sermon was supposed to be next in line, but Elijah Mitchell has been dominating the carries. He's seen 19 touches in both of his first 2 games, so that's very good news for Elijah Mitchell owners. But there are some problems here. Okay. Trey Sermon is in the concussion protocol, so you want absolutely no part of Trey Sermon. Elijah Mitchell had a shoulder injury, and it's looking like it's very likely that he is not going to play on Sunday. But here's how I want you guys to approach this. As we find out more about the Elijah Mitchell injury, even if he is cleared to play somehow and he's set to be the starting running back for the week, which he will be if he's healthy, you are not going to play Elijah Mitchell. I know that the ESPN app has him projected for 11 plus points or something like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. This dude is not going to see any volume whatsoever if he plays. Okay, they're playing the Packers, and they're probably going to be playing from behind, meaning this is a very good game for George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. But here's the problem, guys. They're not going to be able to run the ball efficiently against a good defense. And the bigger problem is he's going to be on a limited snap count due to the fact that he's coming back from a shoulder injury. I do not see him having more than 12 touches in this game, so the volume is not going to be there. Unlikely that he runs very efficiently coming back from a shoulder injury, and you know Kyle Shanahan, you really just never know what the heck he's going to do. So even if he says that Elijah Mitchell is healthy and is going to receive a full workload, he could be blowing smoke, and that just might not happen at all, and it probably won't. Elijah Mitchell needs to be on your bench this week, okay? So don't play anyone in the 49ers backfield whatsoever. Don't consider it. They're all on your bench. Okay. Moving on to the Dalvin Cook injury. Dalvin Cook sprained his ankle in week 2. He came out of the game and then came back, so that's always a very good sign. And here's what I'm going to tell you guys right now. It's I think it's likely that Dalvin Cook plays this week, but there's always the chance that he doesn't. It is a sprained ankle, and he was held out of practice all week, didn't even practice today. So I think that there's actually a decent likelihood that he's not out of the game. I'm going to say 70% that he plays, 30% that he doesn't. Either way, there's a decent chance that he doesn't play, and you need to have Alexander Mattison on your roster. If Alexander Mattison is somehow on the waiver wire still in your league, there's obviously a bunch of idiots in your league that aren't paying attention to what's going on, and you need to scoop him up immediately. He is the waiver wire target, for this coming week. Grab Alexander Mattison. And here's what I would also recommend, guys. If somebody on your league has Alexander Mattison, I would try to trade for him and scoop him up, because right now, in a lot of people's eyes, he doesn't possess any value because he's not set to receive any significant workload anytime soon as long as Dalvin Cook plays. And people just look at the projections and they see, oh, Dalvin Cook's projected to score 14 and Mattison's only projected for 2.8. That's all people look at, guys. They don't really look at what's actually going on. And what's actually going on is Alexander Mattison has a decent chance to play this weekend if Dalvin Cook is indeed not ready to go. Okay, and here's the other thing, guys. We know that Dalvin Cook is a running back that gets injured every single year. It's going to happen at some point. He's going to go down and miss time, probably significant time. And when that happens, Alexander Mattison can step in and be the stud workhorse running back for the team, guys. Alexander Mattison is a very competent backup running back. He's averaged 4.5 yards a carry on a 200-plus carry sample size in his young career. And guess what, guys? They use him just as much as they use Dalvin Cook when he steps into the workhorse role. Thus, he is by far the most profitable handcuff running back that you can possibly have in fantasy football. The reason that they use him just as much as they use Dalvin Cook is because this is a team that insists on running the ball first, despite their plethora of passing weapons. And they know that Alexander Mattison is not too far from Dalvin Cook from a talent standpoint. So you could pretty much plug him into Dalvin Cook's spot when Dalvin Cook is hurt and expect almost Dalvin Cook-like production. So guys, you need to have Alexander Mattison on your team. If not, you could trade for him right now, and you're going to end up playing him at some point during the season and getting huge fantasy output out of him. So right now, while he doesn't have any value in a lot of people's eyes, try to trade for him. Or if he's on the waiver wire, try to pick him up. So guys, you need to have Alexander Mattison. That's the point I'm trying to hammer home here. And if you got him and Dalvin Cook is injured this week, you could be in for a treat. All right, guys. The next backfield that I wanted to go over was the Las Vegas Raiders. So, okay, they clearly do not want to run the ball whatsoever when Josh Jacobs is not in the starting lineup. Kenyon Drake only has 13 combined carries so far. He had 6 carries in week 1, 7 carries in week 2. 7 carries in 1, 6 carries in week 2. He's been extremely inefficient. He only had 9 yards on 6 carries. In week 2, guys, this dude's efficiency has been absolutely by far worse than any running back in the NFL, and they clearly don't trust the running game whatsoever when Kenyon Drake is the lead back. Don't fall into the Kenyon Drake trap and think that you're getting any sort of fantasy value starting Kenyon Drake when Josh Jacobs is out. He is not going to produce anywhere near what Josh Jacobs produces from a fantasy standpoint, and he needs to be on your bench, guys. Don't fall into the trap. Sit Kenyon Drake this week. He belongs on your bench, and you're never going to be starting this guy. Okay. And then the other backfield that I wanted to go over, and this is an interesting one because, like, look, this is a player who was probably taken in the first round, right? Saquon Barkley, right? So this is a dude who still, in my opinion, is one of the most talented running backs in football just from a sheer talent standpoint, and he's had an absolutely terrible start to the season. The reason I'm including him on my injury report here is because he was held out of practice Wednesday. What I want you guys to know that this is strictly load management, okay? He doesn't have an injury that's going to hold him out of the game on Sunday. He will be playing 100% without a shadow of a doubt, and he's going up against an Atlanta Falcons defense that's absolutely terrible. I talked about this in one of my videos earlier in the week. Even with the Giants' piss-poor offensive line, Saquon Barkley's talent alone should be good enough for him to run all over this piss-poor Atlanta Falcons run defense. And the good news is the Giants' offense has been a lot more efficient than we thought it was going into the year. Daniel Jones has looked really good. They got the three-headed monster with Slayton and Golladay and Sterling Shepard. So they can move the ball down the field a lot better than I thought they would be able to do. The offense is actually going to be pretty decent, meaning Saquon's going to have even more scoring opportunities. So Saquon is going to bounce back and have a pretty good season, guys. I'm telling you right now. And even if he doesn't have a great season, he's damn sure going to go off against the terrible Atlanta Falcons defense. So you want to play him this week. He's not injured. It was load management, and you need to plug him into your lineups. Okay, and another backfield I wanted to talk about is the Los Angeles Rams. So here's what we're looking at. They are going up against what is the most nasty pass rush in all of football, led by Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. And look, this is not a backfield that you ever want to play any sort of running back against unless his name is Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, or, one of the sort. Okay, you are not going to start Darrell Henderson against this nasty backfield. Also, Darrell Henderson had an injury to his shoulder last week, so you don't even know that he's going to be on a full snap count. He could be on a limited snap count if he even plays, and odds are he's going to get significantly less volume because they're facing such a nasty defensive front, and they're going to be having to be pass happy to keep up with the Buccaneers and try to have any chance at winning this game. So Darrell Henderson is on your bench. Here's what you're going to do if Darrell Henderson is not playing. You're going to be looking at Sony Michel like, oh, that's a juicy plug and play because he's going to come in and get the workhorse, amount of carries and everything like that. And I agree. If Darrell Henderson is hurt at any point in the season, Sony Michel will pretty much step in and receive the same workload that Darrell Henderson does. The problem is this is just not the right matchup. They're facing an absolutely disgusting defensive matchup, and you don't want to play anyone in the Rams backfield. Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, they're both out. in my opinion, you're not going to be wanting to play these guys this week. If Darrell Henderson's healthy, he's on your bench. If Sony Michel steps into the lead workhorse role due to Henderson being out, Sony Michel is also going to be on your bench. So don't play anyone in the Rams backfield. All right, guys, it is Friday, so we're going to figure out more on the injury front as the day goes on. But this is how I want you to approach these backfields for the moment. That way you have actually somewhat of an idea of who to have on your bench and who you need to be starting, who's in, who's out, and everything like that. But we're definitely going to find out a lot in the next day and a half as far as who's actually going to be playing on Sunday. And there's probably some of these decisions that aren't going to be brought to light until Sunday morning. So monitor these things closely. It's important to have some of these handcuffed running backs like Alexander Mattison on your team in case the stud running back is not playing. All right, guys, that's what I wanted you to know for now. Keep a close eye on the injury report so you can know how to assess this going forward. All right, guys, I do appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. If you did like the content today, give me a thumbs up, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel so I can give you fantasy content continuing throughout the entire season and off season. I do appreciate it, guys. I'll catch you later.